We're going to talk about solutions today. Before we talk about how to make it right, we first have to diagnose what's going wrong, and then we can make it right. So let's do that. This tweet from Mitch McConnell pretty much encompasses all the problems with the Republican Party right now. He said today, "The American people need more help. We need vaccine distribution money." So right off the bat, he's not talking about ending the lockdowns. He's not talking about ending the socialist communist experiment. He's not talking about freeing the American people. And he's not talking about the one thing that his supporters care about the most, the election. He's talking about vaccine distribution money. Let's continue. We need to re-up the Paycheck Protection Program to save jobs. We need to continue to provide for laid-off Americans. No sign of getting people back to work. No strategy to completely end the lockdown. Just talking about socialism. We need to just keep giving the government paycheck to the people that we laid off with our communist dual-party shutdowns. No plan to stop it. Now the Republican Party is like the worst version of the Democratic Party a few years ago. Full-blown socialists, unapologetic, not even trying to pretend like they're not. Congressional leaders on both sides are going to keep working until we get it done. I'm sure you will, bro. I saw Michelle Malkin post this. I'm not sure if she's been watching my videos or not because I've been talking about the Charlie Brown and Lucy thing. That's been my thing for a few weeks. I'm not sure if she thought of it on her own. Either way, I love it. It says conservative base, swamp GOP, every promise every time. And she says swamp GOP. We'll abolish the Department of Education later. We'll defund NPR later. We'll secure the borders later. We'll repeal Obamacare later. We'll repeal Section 230 later. We'll end voter fraud later. We'll fulfill our promises never. Exactly. Perfect. Right now, the best aspect of the Republican Party is that they're not the Democratic Party, but the problem is they're so far left because of this communist, medical, tyrannical, socialist shutdown. They're so far left that they make Obama's term look conservative. And I'm not an Obama fan. I'm just saying what happened this year is inexcusable, and not a single leader in the Republican Party wants to end it. And I understand why people are fighting for the election. I completely get it. I think the election was very sketchy, obviously. But where I differ from people is they're casting out this illusion that Trump has just done so much this year to fight for our freedom, when in reality, outside of the election fighting, outside of the bickering on social media, him and Mitch McConnell are virtually indistinguishable in policy. Trump has been selling this vaccine way harder than he's been trying to end the lockdown over the last few months. He's turned into a vaccine salesman. Take a look.
What is going to be going through your mind as FedEx, UPS, those flights go to 600 separate sites in all 50 states, a vaccine rolling in? What's going to be going through your mind?
If I wasn't president, according to almost everybody, even the enemy, if I wasn't president, you wouldn't have a vaccine for 5 years, okay? I pushed the FDA and companies and everybody else involved like nobody's ever been pushed before, and now you have it rolling out. And frankly, they could have done it last week. They could have even done it a week sooner, and they heard from me. But this has been a really medical miracle. They call it a medical miracle. And it's going to have a tremendous impact. 95% effective. We have Moderna coming out next week very soon. We have Johnson & Johnson, a one-shot vaccine coming out. All great companies.
What about an aid package for the American people?
It's moving along.
What could you do to get the $900 billion out?
Well, I want to do it. I'm pushing it very hard. And to be honest with you, if the Democrats really wanted to do the deal, they do the deal. They should do it right now.
And if you combine that with what Ronald Reagan helped put into law, which is the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, which pretty much merges vaccine companies and government and takes away liability from vaccine companies, this is a nightmare. This is a disaster. President Trump wants credit for these vaccines, and he's making it part of his legacy, and perhaps it might be his biggest mistake of all.
I said, I said, you don't have to do any heavy lift. You don't have to go to Congress. You don't have to change regulations. All you have to do is open up the vaccine safety data link, which is the medical records for the top 9 HMOs, and allow independent scientists to go in there and just open it up so they can start publishing.
And did he do it?
And no, he didn't. It's still locked down. Tony Fauci makes sure nobody can get in there.
So anyway, Big Pharma stepped in and put some money in.
And then Trump appoints Pfizer's lobbyist to run FDA, Scott Gottlieb, and Eli Lilly's lobbyist, Alex Azar, to run HHS. And as soon as they came in, they shut us down.
And was that were you bummed about that?
Was I bummed? Yeah, I was very bummed.
I'd have been bummed.
Yeah. Of course.
I'd have been
It
freaking bummed,
it was like within our grasp, you know.
Now, before we get into solutions, once again, we have to talk about where people are going wrong. The future of the GOP is the America First movement and the Michelle Malkin types who say enough is enough. Draw their line in the sand. With Trump, with McConnell, no more. We need it. We need to demand it. They need to earn our vote. They need to actually do something. If enough people stand their ground, tens of millions of patriots who support the president or support the Republican Party, we'll get our way. The reason that we never get our way is because we're like Lucy with the football. We keep falling for the same trick over and over and over. And for some reason, there's a lot of influencers out there who tell people it's a bad idea to try to hold the GOP accountable. And then they try to harass people like me who understand that this is the solution. Let me just give you a quick example. I got challenged to a debate a week ago by some guy. I didn't even know who he was. I think his name on Twitter is Vincent Kennedy, and he was basically like, I disagree with you, let's debate. I wanted to do a debate, but he wants to stay anonymous, so he doesn't want to do audio or video. He just wants to pretty much have straw man arguments and make up stuff and mislead people all the time. He doesn't want to debate, which is fine, but at the same time, it's becoming one of the biggest problems in the Republican movement. Take a look. You can love President Trump, you could love Operation Warp Speed, but if we want to actually solve something or do something, we have to agree on what's happening and then decide how to deal with this. So just take a look at people who follow him and have been harassing me recently. They said, real talk, double meanings, Operation Warp Speed. The virus equals those who must be arrested. The cure equaled the arrest. The vaccine equals sealed indictments. U.S. military equals vaccine cure delivery system. So when President Trump says this,
If I wasn't president, you wouldn't have a vaccine for 5 years, okay? I pushed the FDA and companies and everybody else involved like nobody's ever been pushed before. 95% effective. We have Moderna coming out next week very soon. We have Johnson & Johnson, a one-shot vaccine coming out. All great companies.
they don't believe a word that he says. It's shocking to me because I like the president, they like the president, maybe even more than I do, but they don't even believe what he says. One of the best aspects of President Trump is he talks like a real person. This might be his best aspect. When he talks, you should believe him. He means what he says. When I disagree with him, I disagree with him. When I agree with him, I agree with him. But I don't play this game of not believing what he says. He says what he means. You just don't always agree with it. So these people, and I feel bad because it's influencers like Vincent Kennedy that challenged me to a debate, bothered me when I didn't even know who he was, refuses to debate, and then scrambles people's brains so they don't even know what's going on. It's turning into, and I feel bad saying this, it's turning into like a full-blown mental illness, kind of like people who go too far left. You love the president so much that you can't possibly fathom he ever does anything that you disagree with, so you believe every single thing that President Trump says unless he says something you don't want to believe, and then you make up a fake code that doesn't exist saying that the vaccine's not real, it's secretly sealed indictments, the virus is those who must be arrested, the military is really the vaccine. I mean, it's straight delusional stuff, and this is not the only person who's doing that. There's thousands of people that got brainwashed into this type of mental delusion on the right wing, and instead of actually fighting for their freedom and standing up to the GOP, they're attacking people who are trying to stand up for their freedom, like myself or Michelle Malkin, by saying, hey guys, you're a bad guy, you're a secret bad guy because you're drawing the line in the sand. We're the good guys because we're just waiting for Bill Barr and Durham and Trump to do everything we ever wanted. I mean, take a look at this stuff. You're wrong. As much as I don't agree with many things leadership of this timeline do, you're totally wrong. And then it says all these secret codes, medical miracle, med bed, safe and effective vaccine means safe military, 95% effective junk vaccine. Vaccines are also safe military operation, gold standard. They're just making up whatever they want and just saying it's a code when Trump says something that they don't want to believe. When it comes to the vaccine, it's very real. Moderna is a company that's backed by Bill Gates and has been since 2016. Trump, with Operation Warp Speed, funded them over $1 billion. He bought 100 million doses of Moderna's vaccine back in August. He also bought 100 million doses of Pfizer even before that. Trump is rushing Moderna through safety trials. He tweeted, Moderna now applying for emergency vaccine approval. US FDA must act quickly. Operation Warp Speed has been a great modern day miracle. Trump is really a vaccine salesman now. I mean, you might like Trump. I liked Trump. I just don't agree with this. But the difference is
Moderna coming out next week very soon.
Millions of conservative, millions of patriots follow these con artist anonymous accounts, most of which who won't even show their face, some of which do, and they're just as dishonest as the people who don't. And instead of trying to hold the line, hold Mitch McConnell, hold Trump accountable and say enough is enough, we want our freedom, we don't want medical tyranny, we want a free country, they attack patriots like me and say, oh, Anomaly's the bad guy because he wants to draw the line in the sand. Take a look at another one. We're not losing our freedoms, Anomaly. We got this. Apparently you haven't paid attention. So they're so brainwashed, and I hate to say this, but they're so mentally ill now because of fake con artist accounts who run them in circles. They don't think we lost our freedoms. Please leave a comment and let me know if you think we lost our freedoms. We obviously lost our freedoms this year. They locked us in the house. They closed down beaches. In all 50 states, there's millions of workers, even in South Dakota and Texas and Florida, who, because of corporate control, are forced to wear mask mandates. And meanwhile, you have Mitch McConnell who's saying, let's, put more money towards the vaccine distribution. You have Trump selling vaccines. You don't really have a single conservative leader. Maybe Ron DeSantis is the best out of everybody, or Noam from South Dakota, who's leading for a full open. The best that you have is like a 95% open or 90% open with restrictions, and the elderly are being treated. I think all this is unacceptable. So now that we've talked about the issue, the solution is tens of millions of patriots standing up for themselves, standing up against the GOP, standing up against Trump. You could love Trump, you could vote for Trump, you could fight for the election, but these are not mutually exclusive. They're kicking the can down the road. All the stuff they've done this year, from the mRNA vaccines to the telecommunications that they installed everywhere, to the lockdown, to the financial overhaul of America, to the destruction of small businesses, to Operation Warp Speed, it's all real. And I understand people don't want to believe that this happened. I just can't ignore reality because it's so shockingly obvious. I can't even live a normal life. I can't fly on a plane normally. I can't go on vacation normally. I can't go to the store without being harassed. I can't do anything. I can't get my hair cut. Anything that I wanted to do to relax or even to travel, it's all been infringed upon. It's so obvious. I can't ignore it. But these people are maybe scared, maybe egotistical, maybe they're duped. Maybe they're great patriots who have been duped by people taking advantage of them, but they're so brainwashed now, they don't even think this happened. They don't think freedom was taken away. They don't want to believe that Trump actually rushed a vaccine, because that's what he does. Maybe you're obsessed with vaccines and you love that he did that. Maybe you're an mRNA vaccine fanatic, whatever. Just tell the truth. But you have these accounts telling people it's a secret white hat military operation where he's fighting Bill Gates. No, it's not. It's a secret way that he's protecting us in the future by getting it done really fast. It's like, read the Reagan Act of what they've been doing since then. This is all very concerning, and it should have people being like, wait a second, is this what we want? Just having a conversation about it. But these people scramble people's brains, and that's the difference between me and them. People come here for accurate reporting. You see what I talk about? I like Trump, but I don't just make up stuff. If he bought 100 million doses of Moderna, that's what he did. That's literally what happened. But these people block all that stuff out, just lie constantly so their audience doesn't expect anything. So it's a weird zone to be caught in, because when you can believe that the virus is those who must be arrested, the vaccine is sealed indictments, and the US military means the vaccine, because you just don't want to believe that it really is going to doctors right now and people will eventually get this, you have to say that the vaccine secretly means military. There's something profoundly wrong that happened to the Patriot movement. There's pros and cons to everything, but if we lose our grip on reality, it's not going to work. So the solution is tens of millions of people holding their ground and drawing the line in the sand. Enough is enough. The Republican Party has gone so far left and nobody challenges them. Nobody challenges Trump. Until yesterday, nobody challenged Mitch McConnell. I'm not going to say it's too late, because it's never too late, but after 8 months of socialist, communist shutdown of small businesses, we have millions of small businesses that'll never come back. We have freedoms that the longer we wait, they're going to be really hard to get back, even under Trump, because Trump and McConnell, even if they win, have no plan. They don't have a plan. They're telling you their plan, and it doesn't include full freedom. And this game of just secretly waiting for something to happen is a way to get nothing. It's like sitting on the sidelines and just watching and waiting. Just let's do it. And then if it's Trump, he'll have to do it. If it's Mitch McConnell, he'll have to do it. God forbid Joe Biden gets in the White House, he'll have to do it, because we won't comply. So this is what has to be done. The future of the Republican Party is going to be the America First types who say, enough is enough. We're not budging an inch. The Overton window has shifted so far left that nothing matters anymore. People are literally mentally ill, brainwashed, because they don't want to cope with what's going on. And things that were considered far, far left 40 years ago are now a staple in the conservative party. I always bring this up, but Noam Chomsky used to say he's a left-wing communist anarchist, like super far left Jewish professor, and he used to defend anti-Semitism speech. And his reasoning was, if you don't defend the worst speech, you don't believe in free speech. There's two stances.
But I'm saying, if you believe in freedom of speech, you believe in freedom of speech for views you don't like. I mean, Goebbels was in favor of freedom of speech for views he liked, right? So was Stalin. If you're in favor of freedom of speech, that means you're in favor of freedom of speech precisely for views you despise. Otherwise, you're not in favor of freedom of speech. There's two positions you can have on freedom of speech, and you can decide which position you want. With regard to my defense of the utterly offensive, the people who express utterly offensive views, I haven't the slightest doubt that every commissar says, you're defending that person's views. No, I'm not. I'm defending his right to express them. The difference is crucial, and the difference has been understood outside of fascist circles since the 18th century.
Is there anything like objectivity, or scientific objectivity, reality? As a scientist,
look, I'm not saying I defend the views.
Either you're pro-free speech or you don't believe in free speech. You can't just agree with speech you agree with. Then you're no different than Stalin or Hitler, who agreed with things they agreed with, and then, banished certain speech that they didn't agree with. So there's only two stances on free speech. If you're not pro-free speech, then just say you're not pro-free speech. If you're pro-free speech, you have to be pro-speech that you disagree with politically. But now in the Republican Party under Trump is passing these anti-Semitism bills that actually says protesting Israel or Israeli companies or whatever, or saying this or saying that on a college campus is an infringement. This is not pro-free speech. So we have a party that is right-wing and nationalist, but further left than even Noam Chomsky was 30, 40 years ago. This is the Overton window. We have 8 months of medical tyranny, and you have patriots who don't even think we lost freedom. We have an Operation Warp Speed vaccine that's coming to us. You don't have to disagree or agree with it. That's up to you, but you can't even acknowledge it's happening because you're so obsessed with President Trump that you won't even believe what he says when you don't want to believe it. This is becoming the biggest problem in the Republican Party. Being woken up is great, but being put right back to sleep is horrible. And that's what happened to MAGA. That's what happened to the Trust the Planners. And that's what happened to like 20 to 50% of the base. They woke you up. Everybody's woken up. And this year they put you back to sleep, just obliterated the country. And then the time that patriots are supposed to stand up, nobody was standing up because it's an election year, because they like Trump, because the message board told them to trust the plan, because con artists with 100,000 people or 500,000 people on Twitter just told you that, Operation Warp Speed is 7 different things, and every day they change what it is, and they're not sure, and they mislead you, and they scramble your brain, and you got secret codes. This is not the work of God, folks. And these people take the Bible and say, oh, you don't believe in God? No, I believe in God. Read Revelation, read the Bible. I believe that. I don't believe a con artist, a false prophet who spins all this stuff and just makes people mentally ill. That's the work of the devil. You're not working for God. You're working for the devil. These people have to stop lying and scrambling people's brains because it's going to lead to the destruction of the country. So the solution is, first of all, take care of yourself, take care of your family, figure out what's best for you. Don't be scared, but be prepared. Be aware of what's going on, see it all happening, and have a plan. Have a plan for yourself. Don't trust the plan of Bill Barr saving your life. A government agent's going to save you. No, trust yourself. Have a plan. Don't trust the plan. Have a plan. And then if good things happen, that's great. We all win. And if something else happens, you're absolutely prepared. But if you build this fake reality, you're only going to keep getting shattered, or you're going to be like some of these people, God bless their souls. They're so far brainwashed that it would take like 2 years of psychiatry to get them back to normal. I mean, this is like creepy stuff. So, the solution is, 1, take care of yourself, be aware, have a strategy, have a plan, and just, praise God and be grateful for what you have. But on a systemic level, the strategy is on the right wing in the GOP, the Republican Party, the Patriot Party, whatever you want to call it. We can't be the party of trusting the plan. We can't be the party of making up codes when things don't go our way. We can't be the party of scrambling people's brains. We can't be the party of just bending over because we like a certain person. We need to be the party of enough is enough. We had the Tea Party, the original Tea Party. They got ticked off over a tea tax that is so small, it's like a normal tax in a red state. Now we have taxes even on the Republican side. Don't even get me started with the Democrat taxes. They're disgusting. But you have taxes so high, even with the Republican president, even when they lower them, they would make Karl Marx envious. I'm not even sure that Karl Marx thought that communism could come to the country this much. I mean, this many taxes, if you read the Communist Manifesto, even right-wing taxes are too much. Left-wing taxes are disgusting. And they keep going up and up and up, and they cut them down 20%, 30%, even right-wing. Too much. They had a Boston Tea Party over a small tax. So we need to be the party of doing something, being the party of message board anonymous, just watching your country burn and saying that the vaccine's not really a vaccine. Technically, it's an mRNA vaccine, yes, which is different. But if you think it's a military code for somebody that's going to go arrest all your enemies instead of standing up for your country, is it not obvious that this is becoming more of a con than a pro? So the solution on a group scale is to demand justice. That's what we have to do. If the Republican Party is going to be the pro-freedom party, the pro-First Amendment party, the anti-lockdown party, the 100% no more medical tyranny, no more lockdowns, open up the whole country and a whole movement to just get rid of all this nonsense and really get rid of it. Because right now, this is the new normal and it's never going to end at this rate. So if the Republican Party or the Patriot Party or these movements want to be the movement of 100% open up the country, then I'm all for it. I'll be right there with you. If you're not, if you're going to be the party of making excuses for socialism and communism, if you're going to be the party of trusting the Barr plan, if you're going to be the party of making up secret codes when something that Trump does doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go, if it's going to be the party of just excuses and calling people rhinos, but just really following people that do the same exact stuff, if it's going to be the party about bragging about vaccines instead of actually trying to end the lockdowns, I want no part of it. I'll unregister tomorrow as a Republican. I'll never vote again if that's what it's going to be. So that's up to you guys. If you want to be the party of excuses, making up stuff, never standing your feet in the ground, I can guarantee you, whether it's me, whether it's someone else, there's going to be a leader that's 100 times as strong that's going to mop the floor with these people, because the GOP is just doing nothing. They do nothing. Obama, he does DACA. It's unconstitutional. He gets away with it. Republicans get in. They don't do anything about DACA. They don't do anything. So it's like Obama can not be constitutional and get away with it. And you're saying Trump and the Supreme Court, when we have a conservative majority, they can't even enforce the Constitution? This whole system's a joke, and people are just waiting for something instead of demanding it. So that is the solution. That is the future. I'm not moving. I don't care how much I get lied about, harassed. These people end up being like Antifa. They try to find old stuff. And it's like, focus on yourself, okay? Because you're not only embarrassing yourself, and I feel legitimately bad for how scrambled some of these people's brains have gotten, you're embarrassing the country. Like turning your back on millions of small businesses, that's not the work of God. That's the work of Satan. Turning your back on medical freedom and turning your back on the fact that the way that you thought this year was going to go didn't go, that's not like a virtuous thing. That doesn't make you super loyal and super amazing. It makes you not loyal to your country. If you can't stand up for your Constitution, if you can't stand up for the people losing everything, if you can't fight freedom, we're not getting it back. After the Patriot Act, every time they take away our freedom, it almost never comes back. It's very difficult to get back. We can do it, but it's not going to come from the people who are just waiting and harassing and yelling at people like me who actually want to stand. No more. We've waited for 4 years. We've waited for a year. They told me, you think this is new? Like, oh, anomaly, just don't say it because of the election? I heard this same thing in March. I heard the same thing when I said it in April. I said this in May. I said it in June. I said it in July. I said it in August. I've said it the whole year. You can't shut down for a month, let alone 8 months. This is going to cause problems for the next 20, 30 years. I've said it the whole time, but it's always like, it's not time. It's never time. That's why the time is now, because it's never time for these people. There's always an excuse for why they don't want to stand up for themselves. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to name names because God bless everybody, but the same people who lied about Operation Warp Speed in April, May, June, and July, I've seen them lie. I've seen them argue with me. I've seen them deceive millions of people or thousands of people. And now they're telling the truth about it. This is what these people do. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody's human. But I actually try to do accurate reporting so I don't mess up that much because I'm very careful and I'm very honest. And if I know a lot, I'll tell you. And if I don't know a lot, I'll tell you what I know and I'll tell you to think for yourself and go look elsewhere. These people act like they're 100% confident on a lie. They're not working for God, folks. They're working for the devil. 100% confident on a lie. 100% confident on a lie. 100% confident on a lie. And they build a base of people that are just delusional. They build a base that's mentally ill that looks at them like a false prophet when their accuracy rating's like 50%. So then when they change 6 months later after arguing with me and say, actually, you know what? I just figured out Operation Warp Speed really is funding Moderna. Like this Pfizer and Moderna mRNA vaccine, they are real. They're out. And I was wrong. They don't say they're wrong. They just say, well, it looks like something else happened. And everyone's like, ooh, it's like they never apologize. They have no shame. And I know tens of 20 people who were wrong about it all year. It's not a competition, but all I ask as a citizen of the United States, stop lying to patriots. Stop brainwashing patriots. Stop scrambling the minds of people that are such good people and making them legitimately mentally ill like a far left liberal that doesn't know up and down and left and right. It's a really evil thing to do. It's not a good thing to do. It's not a godly thing to do. It's an evil, demonic thing to do, to scramble people's brains off of your own ego because you want popularity and you're afraid to admit it. I like Trump. I wrote a song about it. I've been to the White House. I have millions of people who like me that are Republicans and Trump supporters, but I'm still not afraid to do the real. I'm not just going to say, well, Operation Warp Speed must be a super secret plan that Trump is digging underground to. I mean, that's evil. That's evil to lie to people like that. I like Trump. You think I don't have things to lose when I go against him? I don't, because at the end of the day, people like me for being honest. There's not a lot of people like me left, so I don't really care. But in general, it's like I have a lot to lose by doing that, but I'm like, listen, this is what Operation Warp Speed is. I wish it wasn't. I wish this year was a freedom year, but it's not. It's a bipartisan socialism year. It's shutting down the economy. It's extending the lockdown. It's giving Fauci and Pfizer and Moderna more power. It's funding Bill Gates-backed companies. It's Trump turning into a vaccine salesman. That's what I don't want it to happen. I don't agree with it. I still think he's better than Biden. I mean, a cardboard box is better than Biden. And at a certain point, the Democrats are just straight up wicked. Obviously, yes, this is low-hanging fruit reporting. I could do this type of stuff, but that's not where the value is. That's not going to help people, because if we have a two-party system that keeps moving so far left that a Trump presidency with a Mitch McConnell Senate, and even in certain cases in 2016 to 2018, a Republican House, all three branches, if that can't even stop the Democratic Party, do you get what I'm saying? If even all three branches with a Trump presidency can't even stop the socialist communist overhaul of America with the Democratic Party always getting their way, then it's not enough. It's just not. I wish it was. It's not. So something has to change. If it's not the president, if it's not the Senate, if it's not the House, it needs to be us. Whether it's Trump or not, it's got to be us. If he wins again, people are just going to go complacent again. You need to be at his feet saying, we want freedom now. We don't want you to side with Eli Lilly executives and Pfizer executives. We want you to do a vaccine safety council and release the information. If you do that, you might get it. If you just sit there and say, oh, he's got a super secret plan for me, and ignoring millions of businesses getting destroyed, you think you're working for God? You've been deceived by the devil. The devil is a good deceiver. And you're being deceived. And these accounts, they're shameless, or they're shameful, and I think they know it. That's why they don't get that mad at me. I mean, the little accounts do, but the main ones, he said, Anomaly, I really like you. Of course, because I'm everything you could never be. I'm a truther. You're a liar. You've deceived millions of people. You've put people in such a spell that they don't even know what to believe anymore. They love Trump, but they don't believe anything he says because they don't want to believe it. You're not working for God. You're working for the devil. So of course you're not going to really do that much. You don't want an audio or video debate. I'd blow you out of the water. So you should feel shame for being such an evil liar. Tell the truth. I know people don't mean it. I know certain people are lost and everybody can't be perfect, but if you're purposely just saying 50 different things about something, like with 100% confidence behind an anonymous count, people think you're like secret military operative or something, and you're probably just a liar sitting at your keyboard with more power than you've ever had, being like, oh, well, I mean, look at some of the responses to these people. I feel horrible for people who've got deceived like this, and I have friends like that. So overall, you could love Trump, you could trust God, you could have faith in America, but if we want to get something done in the GOP, whether Trump is there or not, whether McConnell's there or not, whoever's there, this is the new movement. This is the solution. America first. End the lockdowns. No more excuses. They've kicked the can down the road, and we are Lucy and Charlie Brown with the football. It's so obvious we're not backing down. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I appreciate you guys so much. And have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy Hanukkah. I think it passed. I don't know. I'm not good with the holidays. Kwanzaa, Ramadan. If that's even the time, I'm sorry. This year's been crazy and the schedule's been tough. But whatever holiday you support, God bless you. I appreciate you guys so much. And have a good day. I'll be back with more videos soon.